कुछ 3 हफ्ते पहले मैं बॉम्बे से दिल्ली आ रहा था एयर इंडिया के फ़्लाइट में, और some meals are served on the flight. So that lady asked me whether I'd like to eat Muslim meal or Hindu meal. I only knew 2 categories, veg and non-veg. So I said, it seems that by your logic, if I order Hindu meal, so it means you believe that I am going to eat vegetarian meal. And if I order Muslim meal, it means I am going to eat non-veg meal. Then she didn't know what to say. So now this is a new normal. I would not call it a new normal. I would call it a restructuring of new common sense. And this new common sense shows this very blatantly, what we call in political science parlance, homogenization. That all Hindus eat vegetarian food and all Muslims eat non-vegetarian food. I mean, this also shows very blatantly that how the institutions, various institutions of a country are being restructured in this manner. This is one small example that showed. I was able to confront that lady and I told her. But now these categories have become quite well established. And this is how you go on fragmenting people. This is how the whole process of otherization happens. And this new common sense is a universal category. There is no such thing as new common sense and old common sense. But I am saying that how common sense, Indian common sense, instead of constitution becoming our common sense, it is religion that is being used to restructure our common sense. So Sharjeel Imam and Umar Khalid have become the victims, although they would never like to be called themselves as victims, because they are valiantly fighting their struggle despite having been incarcerated without any hearing of their we had a hearing, but then what court very heartlessly said that for the next 1 year you can't really apply for bail. I mean, what kind of law we have in this country? Why should court not allow him to apply for bail application again? I mean, I am not a lawyer, but I mean every thinking sensible, every thinking Indian will really laugh at this judicial intervention. Where, in which law book it is said that you can't really apply? They did not use, they haven't really abused the process of bail application. What has been abused in this country is law. That for long 6 years, you don't really hear cases of those young men who were simply exercising their constitutional space, constitutional mandate given to them as a sensible citizen. But if you are incarcerating them for exercising their constitutional right, they were simply protesting by using certain kind of political expressions. These lot of political activists, give slogans, but it doesn't mean that they are going to act on those slogans. These are idioms that people use. But doesn't mean that jamin mein gaad denge. It doesn't mean that they are going to bury that person in the ground. Jamin. No, that is not what it means. These are political slogans. They have certain idioms that are used to create certain kind of political effects. Okay? And our established political leaders give heinous slogans, communal slogans, casteist slogans, and they go on, they go on rampage. If you look at these Babas today, we have new crop of Babas everywhere, who are basically acting against the very religion that they claim to practice, Hinduism. They are, propagating Hinduism in such a manner that, Hinduism, if these are the practitioners of Hinduism, I think Hindus should seriously think about how their religion is being propagated. And these people, they're acting against the very constitution. Constitution tells us that do not spread superstition. But these Babas openly on TV channels spread superstition. And nobody's, conscience is stirred by this nonsense. But people who are exercising their democratic right, constitutional right, mandated by our constitutions, are being hounded out in this manner. Some kind of fear psychosis is being created by jailing these kind of activists. And those who actually instigated communal riots, they are going free. They are becoming religious. They are becoming ministers. They are roaming around free. Not only once, they are repeatedly doing the same thing. But since this regime is stoutly protecting them, they go on, vilifying our constitution, the freedom that is given to them. Why? Because they think that religious fantasies should come true. No, this country is not going to run by somebody's religious fantasies. This country is going to be run by our constitution. And we are going to ensure that this country doesn't become anybody else's fiefdom, anybody else's religious fiefdom. This country is very much going to be run by the constitution, and we are going to ensure that it is run by our constitution. But then, as I began my, whatever I am talking about, by giving you a small example, that how institutions are being basically, manipulated to propagate certain kind of political doctrine, the homogenization of Hinduism, that everyone in this country is Hindu. No, that's not true. This country is rich because there are several religions, there are several cultural practices, there are several food habits. That is why this country is united. If this country becomes, Dr. Ambedkar had prophetically said that if this country becomes a Hindu Rashtra, that is the biggest calamity for this country. So this is just a trial. So every Indian now should, those constitution following, constitutional abiding citizens should realize that constitution is only going to keep this country safe and intact, not any religion. So these people, if they have any illusions, I think they should get rid of these illusions as fast as possible. You have got political power. Whether people voted for you or not, that's a different thing. It's a debatable area. I'm not going to get into that. But if you have got power, so please do not misuse that power to corner citizens. If you do that, today it is them, tomorrow if they come, if law-abiding citizens, constitution following citizens, if come to power and if they ensure, if they revisit the history and decide to punish you, then probably you'll also meet the same fate. So those who wield political power should have a great deal of responsibility and not misuse it simply because you have got political power. Today it is enjoying that political power. Tomorrow you'll bear the brunt of the same political power. So you should always be responsible that you should not really misuse political power. So playing one religion against another is not going to serve anybody's purpose. But this country, if this goes on happening, this country will face a great deal of uncertainty, and that we have seen. Every now and then you see people protesting against this thing, that thing, not for employment, not for jobs. Those who are protesting for quality education, those who are protesting for public education, we often do that. We JNIites are trying to ensure that public education should be should be free and not privatized. People should fight for these kinds of rights, these kind of things. We had various kinds of rights in this country before 2013. Every now and then we'll hear about those rights, right to education, right to food, right to health. But now we don't really hear that language anymore. All we hear is religion. This temple, that temple, this mosque, that mosque. This is not helping anybody. What is going to happen after 10-15 years? We'll have a generation which would be absolutely dumb. They would always be talking about religion or homogenizing this, eating this kind of food, wearing this kind of clothes. No, that's not going to help our country grow. So we have to seriously think about this kind of politics, and Chakka Jam is not sedition. It is certainly not sedition. I mean, if you look at our recent history, political activists have attacked migrants in their states. I can go on giving you a lot of examples, Maharashtra, Karnataka, but this kind of law was not invoked to treat those people with sedition. These are political slogans, okay, and there was a context to it. They were protesting against CAA, NRC, and that was quite legitimate protest. People sat on dharna for many days. Why? Because they feared that they will be unjustly treated. Because again, this whole politics about homogenizing cultures, homogenizing religions, and people have genuine concerns. If a certain sections of people, Muslims and Dalits, are continually attacked, if they are being mob lynched, so they have every reason to fight. And Constitution, I think, gives them that right. So no political party, despite wielding enormous, a great deal of political power, should have the right to suppress others. Recently, you saw those sadhus being beaten up by police in UP. I mean, I feel like saying that the chickens have come home to roost. I shouldn't say that, but this is what exactly these people are demanding, and they got it. And it is sad. I mean, the manner in which those sadhus were being assaulted. No person deserves that kind of treatment. But then you are basically sowing the seeds of this kind of destruction. So you should always be mindful. If today it is somebody else, tomorrow it will be you. Okay, so it is Muslim today, Dalits today, tomorrow it will be you, and not only tomorrow, it already happened. So we have a great deal of responsibility to sensitize our citizens not to resort to violence. I mean, it may help your religion grow. No, you are not growing. You are not helping your religion grow. You are basically portraying your religion in such a manner that the religion will disappear. And I mean, honestly speaking, I am speaking as a sociologist. Who is Hindu in this country? Hindu is an abstract term. What is real, what is concrete in this country is caste. So before you try to homogenize people in the name of Hinduism, you should basically address this evil of caste. Destroy this discrimination that is basically consolidating people in terms of caste. If you are not addressing the issue of caste discrimination, if you are not addressing the issue of religious discrimination, you have no moral right to call yourself Hindu. I'm addressing these people because they are wielding power. They consider themselves to be Hindu. Always, I mean, they attack secularism quite viciously. But at the same time, they'll also talk about secularism, because without secularism, this country will collapse. They also know it very well, but it is their political propaganda. Therefore, they're basically talking in this kind of language. But without secularism, without constitution, our constitution basically upholds the doctrine of secularism. So as long as our constitution exists, secularism will exist. And as long as we have our constitution, our country is strong. Otherwise, if you talk in terms of religion, if you fragment people in terms of religion, then you are putting this country into a great deal of peril. That you must understand. So you have been given this political power, so you should also have the responsibility to keep this country safe and not, otherize people in terms of their religion, in terms of their caste. And how long will you go on playing victim? Mughals, they're gone long time. But if you continue to feel victim of what they did, then I think, it reflects upon your character. So, you can't really get rid of the Mughal history. Of course, they are busy rewriting history. What are they going to rewrite about? What kind of history they are creating? I mean, Mughals' contribution to this country, you can't really deny. Mughals' aesthetics, food, culture. So it is inseparable part of our history. But if you think that you would be able to erase that history because you've got political power, then I think you are seriously mistaken. You should seriously revisit your political doctrine. So vilifying communities in the name of their religion, vilifying communities in the name of their culture, in the name of their caste is not going to help this country grow. It will damage this country a great deal. And those people who believe in inclusive politics should now take it upon themselves to save this country from these kind of forces. It is our moral duty to protect the Constitution, to strengthen the Constitution. These people are creating anti-constitution common sense. When you are talking about your religion, when you are giving free hands to these maniacs who do not really respect the religion, then you are damaging the fabric of this country. If you really want to keep this country safe and secular, so it is everyone's moral responsibility to protect this country from falling into the hands of these kind of maniacs. So as long as our constitution exists in this country will exist. That's my position. So it is my moral responsibility to strengthen the hands of those law-abiding, constitutional-abiding citizens. It is my moral responsibility. I am not going to succumb to any religious doctrine, any religious fantasy. I don't have to do anything with that. I believe in the constitution of my country. I believe in what my founding fathers told me, and I am going to follow them. I am not going to follow any religion, because I don't think it's going to give me. Religion should strictly be a private affair. But then some people don't really believe. I still respect their belief, but then do not really create ruckus for others. Let them practice the religion the way they want. You practice your religion whichever way you want, but do not cast aspersion on others that my religion is superior, my culture is superior. No culture is superior, no religion is superior. India as a whole superior. That is what we should believe. Our constitution is sacrosanct. The only book that we regard that we highly regard is our constitution. We don't care about any other religious books or any other religion. So our constitution is most sacrosanct document for us, and we will try and ensure that it becomes our common sense, not any religious common sense. But then there are forces that have been working in this country to belittle the significance of the Constitution. So we should try and make our efforts, and also try and fight for these kind of political activists who believe some kind of morality. They were fighting against CA and NRC, and their political struggle is legitimate, although they have been incarcerated for long 6 years. 6 years is a long time. But then these institutions, or those people who are building, who are controlling these institutions, should now seriously think by incarcerating people for 10-15 years. There are lots of Muslim activists who are released after 15 long years. Who's going to bear the responsibility of their existence? So, and I think we should stop playing this victim card. So it really reflects poorly upon you. If you continue to believe that you're a victim of this, that, then I think it really poorly reflects on you. Okay, sensible, thoughtful people would look into the history constructively and take the lesson, and not commit the mistakes that they have committed mistakes in history. But then some kind of religious fantasy occupies your mind, and then you want to achieve, you want to realize that vision that your religion tells you. No, that vision is not going to be helpful. History, we should use history constructively to learn lessons and not repeat the mistakes that we made in history. So it is everyone's moral responsibility to support these kind of political struggles, and sensitize the country that has gone into wrong hands, that this kind of politics, the politics of otherization, is not going to help anybody. This kind of politics will keep this country, the country will end up facing a great deal of uncertainty, and that is not going to be in anybody else's interest. Handful of people decide that how this country should be, how religion and culture should be practiced. No, we are not going to listen to them. We are only going to listen to what is told us in what is in the Constitution, and what the founding fathers of a nation have told us, because it is their hard work and it is their laborious efforts that this edifice of the country is standing. We don't really care about any any doctrine, this doctrine, that doctrine, and nobody should have any moral standing or moral right to tell us as to what kind of food we should eat and what kind of culture we should practice. It is no one else's business. It is our business. Our constitution gives us that right, and we are going to protect that right, or that democratic right. We are going to protect secularism. We are going to protect the constitution no matter what happens. It is our moral responsibility, and I think we should. And I without any inhibitions, I uphold the right of these activists who have been incarcerated, and we stand for everyone who believes in democracy. We are not going to let the democracy fall into the hands of these who do not really believe in the constitution of a country. So it is my moral responsibility to support these kind of political struggles. I'm supporting it today, I supported it yesterday, and I'll support tomorrow. With this, I think few words, I'll stop. Thank you very much.